Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. Good evening. My name is Barry Ross. I'd like to welcome you to another segment of Mixing It Up, where we broadcast live to you on TV 33. If you got the digital box in your house and you don't have cable, that's where you can catch us. If you got cable, Comcast 20 in most of Detroit, or if you just got that computer and you want to watch us online, you go to TV33WHPR.com. Every show that I do on this station is live. We tape it. We post it on YouTube. I have two YouTubes. You go to Barry Ross, ROSS, check it out. You go to Ross, ROSS, B like boy, D like David, 51. And on Facebook, just go to Mixin'. It's not mixing, it's Mixin'. M-I-X apostrophe and Mixing It Up. You join and you hit videos. We need some support on this Facebook for the show so you guys know what's going on. Join it. Mixing It Up. It doesn't cost you anything. Get on there. As soon as you get in there and hit like, you're already in it. I also have a website. You go to barryross.org. And I appreciate your support. The station needs your support. We appreciate the opportunity to come to you in your homes. I appreciate R.J. Watkins, Henry Tyler, James Campbell, and of course Hodo, the engineer that never, ever, ever sleeps, and my assistant producer, Ronnie Smith. Tonight, after my first commercial, I'm running a very interesting interview of myself that was done during the summer on a West Bloomfield cable company. And I talked all about my interests in the city, all the trouble we're having that continues to happen in this city, and we're not getting support from you, from the people that watch. We get 100 people, 200 people that come out for protests. Man, we need 10,000 people. We have such a disease, a dis-ease with apathy. People are so fed up that nothing's going to change. They don't get involved. And you need a fire lit under you. And I understand what it's like to want to give up. And man, I wanted to give up last week, and I want to chuck this show and throw it away because sometimes it's just a fruitless battle. So I'm going to show this tape tonight, and possibly two. And then my friend Saba, who works at the Foundation for the Homeless with foster children, hopefully she's going to be here tonight. I want to talk to you about these abandoned homes. You have no right, believe me, to complain about these homes if you're not willing to help us help you. Last year there was about 85,000 of them. I'm convinced now there's probably 125,000. We can board these homes up to you. We can do 20 at a whop. You need to send us some money. I don't care if you send us $1, $5, $10. We got to get involved. We need you to help us. Do you know that I paid for the first 9 houses out of my own pocket, and I asked the city of Detroit for some help, and they said, Mr. Ross, we can't give you one nail. Okay? They got all this equipment sitting there in a garage somewhere. Couldn't give me a nail. Did this with Minister Shabazz, and nothing's come of it. We've boarded up now about 70 houses. We have 175 abandoned houses on a waiting list right now, but we need money. I got an elderly lady that keeps calling me and telling me, Barry, when you're going to come out? It's like she doesn't trust me. And I said, listen, we're so backed up. Can you ask some neighbors on the block, maybe if they could each give you a few dollars? So I want you to call us. You call Malik, 313-646-3375, or call me I want you to call my hotline for Detroit Coalition Against Violence, 313-355-2807. Now, we come to my tragic situation with my good friend Leanne Katzman. She's going to die waiting for a liver. She's on a liver transplant. She's holding on by the skin of her teeth. It could be tomorrow. It could be 6 months from now, but she can't hold on. She's turning jaundice. She's getting weaker. This lady has put in half her life to working with drug addicts, to working with HIV clients. It's not like she's just some average person. She spent her life giving. It's time. You need to be between 18 and 50, and you got to have the right tissue and blood match. But here's the deal. She needs a liver. We're not asking you to give up your liver. We're asking for a portion of it. There's a brand new procedure out now where they take a portion, a slice of your liver, implant it in the recipient, and it regenerates and grows into a full liver, and the person is getting it. Please help me help Leanne. I'm 62. They can't take my liver, and I had so much dope in me that my blood is diseased. I can't help her. My friend Michelle should be laughing at that. So listen, I want you to call this number. I want you to really think about it. I know it seems like a lot to ask, but she's worth it. 313-916-1826. You're going to ask for NEME, N-E-M-M-E, at the Henry Ford Health System. 916-1826. You're donating. God willing, God comes into you and asks you to do this. You're donating for Leanne Katzman. You're going to call NEME at Henry Ford, 916-1826. Last Friday night, Minister Shabazz and I, Pastor Germany from True Oracles of God Ministries, we lit the house on fire at the True Oracles of God Ministries on East State Fair. We joined Pastor Ovella's Thou Shalt Not Kill campaign. We were at another church doing the same thing as her. We had children holding up signs, Thou shalt not kill. It's a commandment. This is not a choice. You don't have the right to take somebody's life. We had about 150 people there. Channel 7 was there. And we joined Pastor Ovella every month on the 22nd. She's at another church. She is the United Communities of America. This is the Thou Shalt Not Kill campaign. A proclamation by, I hate to say it, Dave Bing and the school board proclaimed this day a day of city, peace, and healing. It's an amnesty every 22nd day of the month. Okay, so I'm going to have a little different show tonight. And by the way, it's Easter. Sermons close. Most of the little boy suits start at $29.95 for Easter, and they go up. But I would say more than half of them. Sermons Close is for sale after 96 years. I'm going downtown. You know, I retired from there last year. I'm helping my brother Steve out. I would have to say in 6 months, 9 months, that store is going to be gone. 96 years the store's been there through 2 world wars, Vietnam, both race riots, the auto recession in '79. We were all alone down there. Kept the lights burning. I got to give it up for my brother Steve. My brother Steve is my senior by 5 years, but he made it a hit. I want you to come down there, spend a little change for Easter, help us out, and we'd appreciate it. They're open. We're open from 9:30 till 6 this weekend. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Hey, Hodo, can you give me the phone because Ronnie's not here? Listen, last week, I had Pepper Martin on from the Broadway. We got a call? Okay. I'm sorry for the delay. I asked if anybody out there is watching and knows Pepper Martin's name, his real first name. You know, parents don't give a son Pepper as a given name. I'm going to get back to this in a second. We get some calls. Good evening. You're on the air. How are you?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi. Hello?
Hello.
Yes. What can we do for you?
Nothing. Wondering who's Pepper Martin?
Pepper Martin is the owner of the Broadway.
Oh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. You're on the air. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Okay. Thank you.
I want to see if I can make a match where this lady can get part of my liver.
Yeah, you're willing to donate a piece of your liver?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 60.
You're a little too old, but first of all, we have to thank you for even having the courage to call. God bless you, and I want you to come visit me next week on this show. Can you write something down real quick?
I'm in the bed and I'm now in the wheelchair. I'm wheelchair bound.
Okay, all right.
But you could mention my name if you want to.
What's your name?
On this program.
What is your name?
My name is Percy, Percy.
Percy? Percy is Percy. Percy
Cool.
calling into my show.
Huh?
I'm talking about you, Percy. Percy is calling into the show right now, willing to donate a piece of his liver, and he's in a wheelchair. Percy?
Yeah.
I don't have caller ID. I want you to how am I going to get a hold of you, Percy? I want to call you back.
My phone number is area code 313
Go.
492 2989.
492
8929. Sorry. No, I was like 2989.
492-2989.
Yeah.
Percy, I'm going to call you tomorrow. You're a wonderful man. I'm going to come visit you. You watch me.
All right. If you find anything I can do to help in your ministry, I mean, like I said, volunteer, anything, because I need to give God some of my time.
Hey, Percy?
It's something that I haven't been doing.
Would you like to donate some money to us to help board up some of these houses?
Well, I mean, I'm on the fixed income. I'm a disabled veteran. But what I will do, I'll try to I'll try to put $50 a month. I can put $50 a month on the side for y'all.
Percy, I'm going to call you tomorrow. You're a wonderful man. Thank you. I love you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hello. How are you?
Hey, Barry. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you. Fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, what's it going to take? What's it really going to take to get Minister Malik Shabazz to come out and get on that ballot for mayor? Let's really talk. Any time for us to get pissed off about what's going on in the city, and a man like Minister Malik Shabazz would lead us right there. I think he'd be great. What do you think about that?
I've already asked him, and I certainly, he and I are closer than blood brothers, and to say the least, we talk 100 times a week. Although I haven't spoken with him in 4 days, he's a little upset. I think Malik would make a wonderful mayor, but he's not running for mayor right now. He's supporting Mike Duggan. Maybe the next time around. I think what's going to happen is if Duggan gets elected, he might run twice. And if he gets reelected a second time, then Malik might run after that if he wants to. But I agree with you, and I appreciate your call.
Absolutely. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. As I was saying, last week, across from Sermons Close is the Broadway. The Broadway was founded in 1975. The original owner was here, Pepper. This is where all the stars, athletes, and the big money guys years ago when the YBI was big and crack was big, YBI was a different drug, and then the cocaine came in. The fast money guys were coming out there and dropping $10, $20, $30,000 at a time. And they were coming over to sermons and dropping 500. So it's got quite a history. So last week I said, I bet you $50 nobody out there knows Pepper's first name. I thought for sure I was going to carry this 50 home. But sure enough, 15 minutes later, this beautiful lady sitting next to me who's going to put her mouth near the microphone, her name is Michelle. She won the $50. And she watches me and she watches Malik every week. And look at her smile. Michelle, thank you for coming out here tonight and willing to come on the show for a couple minutes. We just wanted everyone to know how proud we are of you raising a 19-year-old son, doing the right thing. And it ain't easy in this city to do the right thing. Right, Michelle?
That's right, Barry. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay. Your son's in school or working, or is he sort of in between things?
Well, he's a senior at Northwestern High School.
Okay. And how old is he?
19.
He's in 19 at Northwestern?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And how is he?
He's great.
Let's give a shout out to him. What's his name?
Alexander Zando. Have good dreams tonight.
All right. And you have any other children?
No, that's my only child.
Okay. You kept yourself at bay with having more kids. And how are you? Are you working these days? Or?
No, I'm not. I'm actually seeking employment, Barry.
You certainly look good.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay. And you live in a house in Detroit? You live nearby?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Would you like to say anything to the good people in the city that are watching and about anything at all?
Great. I haven't slept for 2 nights since this EFM has come to our city. I looked on the computer about the Voting Rights Act, and I hope that everyone gets involved. We need our city back. This is an outrage and a disgrace.
Why?
Because we worked so hard, my parents, my grandparents, the Renaissance Center, we're losing everything, and it's just intolerable.
He has the right to sell everything in the city, doesn't he?
He has that
Belle
right.
Isle, everything he wants to.
Come
Privatize.
Friday, I believe the 27th, he can actually stop the mayor's pay and also the council. So they will be adhering to his demands to keep their families and households rolling, I'm sure.
And most of all, it's an infringement on the writing votes of the people that live in the city. Everybody's lost their power because he can do whatever he wants without a vote, without any decision. He can turn around, go behind this wall, and decide to do this or that, and nobody can do a thing about it. He's the king. He's like a dictator in a foreign country. He doesn't need anyone's opinion.
This is a dictator. Rick Snyder is a dictator, and these problems must be addressed. The people have to unite and do something to stop these actions. They implemented a case in the Supreme Court February 27th of 2013 to address the issues of the Voting Rights Act. They're trying to get the sanctions and Section 2, 4, 5, and 8 abolished. But we all know that racism is alive and well. Please, if you do nothing else, at least get on your computers or your telephones and find a way for us to get our city back.
Black.
Get
black. We're going to take a call. Good evening. You're on the air with Michelle. Hello. How are you?
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Well, first of all, I was going to ask you, who won the K9 fight? And second of all, I wanted to ask you, what's the number to donate money?
What was the second question?
What's the number to donate the money?
You can call me, and I'm going to give you my cell. And thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
I'll answer your first question first. I have followed K9 for 3 years. He's been on my show a couple times. I was at the press conference, both press conferences, one at Masonic and the one at a gym on 13 and Woodward. And I was disappointed at his lack of showmanship sportsmanship at the sparring event for the press conference. I actually told him, I said, he was calling the young opponents who were only 19. They weren't even professional fighters. They were amateurs. You slap, you fight like a bitch, and I couldn't believe it. And I know there's a certain amount, guys go back and forth, played a dozens a little bit, but it was unnecessary. But K9 lost. Not only did he lose, he did not show up for the fight. And when I tell you he did not show up, while I was at the fight, I was taping it at home, and he looked worse on cable when I kept stopping. I said, my God, this guy was barely fighting. So he lost. An overwhelming loss. And I don't know what's going to happen to him now. But let me give you my phone number if you're ready. I don't know if you're still there, caller. My phone is 248-417-9696. If you want to donate, help us block these houses, stop these perpetrators from molesting the young girls, the women, the drug houses, the murders. We can do this ourselves, but you got to help us. If you want to volunteer to board up the houses, if you're a carpenter, call me. Anything you want to partake, we can do 20, 30, 40, 50 houses at a time. We can bring this city back. Call me, 248-417-9696. Good evening, you're on the air. How are you?
Yes, I would like to ask the young lady that's sitting there, the gentleman that's talking. I like to ask her if she thinks that it was
He can't hear me.
a plan to let Detroit go into
What's that cracking sound?
they run out of money. Well, so that
Hey, my man, can you hear me? Your phone is like cracking. There's like a cracking sound, and you have to speak louder and clearer. We could not understand what you just said.
All right, I would like to know, did the manager that came in to make Detroit better, was this something that they had put in the plan way before Detroit went bankrupt, or what?
Thank you for your question. We don't know. We assume that all the time the governor's been planning this anyway. It might not have been this guy. Wouldn't you agree, Michelle?
I agree.
The governor wanted to take over and privatize the city. This is his plan that's been going on. Yes. Would you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. He didn't know it was him or who he's going to pick. But we know this is an underhanded, sneaky snake.
Yeah, take the city from take the city of Detroit over.
He's taken over every city that's had an emergency manager. Has been mostly an African-American city, and they've all failed. They've all done worse since the managers come in. Thank you for your call.
Let me add this, Barry. If you go online to the Supreme Court, they have to make a decision by June. If you'll notice, the activities that are going on with the emergency financial manager in Detroit are all transpiring before June. It's illegal for him to be there, and as of June, the Supreme Court will make a decision regarding the Voting Rights Act sections or not being suspended. Michigan is on the list for partial violations.
You bad, and you didn't want to. Good evening, you're on the air. How are you?
I'm good. I'd like to add to the K9 thing. You know, ever since he became champion, he thought he was better than everyone. And I've known him a long time, too, and he treated everyone like garbage after he became champion.
Well, I don't know how you're referring to this and where you're coming from, but one thing I know, once he signed a deal for this fight and he got probably the biggest payday of his life, that's when I personally saw a change in him.
Yeah.
You know, and you oh, by the way, not to digress, but does everybody out here know that the person that won the big Powerball money was a man from the Dominican Republic that could barely speak English with 5 children. He's never owned a new car. And I'm pretty sure he's an African American from the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
And they say he's a humble man, and his family, he owns a little party store in New Jersey. And I was so happy to see. It's usually some white hick, that somebody, really. Here's a black family in New Jersey that's good to the community, won that money. So I hope he's wise with that $150 million. Thank you for your call.
His name is Pedro.
Pedro, yeah.
And
What the hell does that have to do with K9?
It has a lot to do with it because he's humble. This man's humble and he's not full of himself. And it reminded me, I always thought that K9 was so humble until he got this contract. Your feelings are that he was full of himself for quite a while. Now, I didn't see that. I always found him down to earth. He would come out in the community with us when we were going on patrols, when we were having events, and he seemed not full of himself as much. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I want to say good evening to your guests, and it's good to see a fellow citizen of the city who's conscientious and knows what's going on here.
Peace and blessings.
But in regards to the boarding up of the homes, I know Minister Shabazz had spoken of not playing the lottery for a Sunday, on every Sunday. My thing is, why do we play it any day? You know, we don't need to play it, period. But maybe if we get a campaign that said, don't play the lottery, the money that you were taking to play the lottery, we could give to you guys to help board up these homes. You know, you got a certain mission for this money. Just, you know, don't play the lottery, but take the money and do something positive with. So maybe say, don't play the lottery, give us the money so we can board up these homes and make it safer for these people in our community. Maybe we could get more response. But in my opinion, you shouldn't play the lottery at all. You shouldn't go to the casino because the governor doesn't give a hoot about the citizens of the city, and we're putting in most of the money for the lottery, and we're not getting anything from it. We're not even getting our revenue sharing. Our schools have gone to the pot. They're taking our money, building up schools in other communities. So we need to take that money that we're sending to the state, who's not even giving us what we legally are supposed to get, and take that money and put it into something like helping you all help get those houses boarded up. Thank you.
Well, you're very kind. If you can just stay on for a minute, when Malik thought of this, first of all, anywhere that we can stop the governor, he doesn't expect every African American in the city of Detroit to stop playing the lottery. If you can, just one day alone, we'll take one day. Just one day. You want to do it every day, that's fine, but he didn't expect everyone to stop playing the numbers. They've been doing it for 90 years when it used to be policy. Listen, don't buy liquor, don't buy gasoline on Sunday, all this. And yes, send it to us. That's a great idea. That's a very caring idea. Anybody that wants to donate, call me. 313-355-2807. That's my hotline. Detroit Coalition Against Violence, my cell, 248-417-9696. We don't expect you to stop playing the lottery every day, although that's a great idea. If you can do it, you're trying to fulfill a dream. We understand it. Just one day will hurt the governor. One day. Anywhere we can stop him at all is a victory. Anywhere. He's winning on everything. Good evening. You're on the air. Michelle?
Yes.
You were wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you back now that you're getting a little bit of stardom, and we'll have to find out more about you. I'm glad you came here tonight, and we wish your son the best, and you're going to bring him back and let him get a little taste of the studio. See, this is a nice little in the hood studio.
Very positive.
All right, this ain't like Johnny Carson where they got 5,000 people out there. We tell it real in Detroit. I'm telling you, there isn't a night every Tuesday before I come on. I'm nervous. I am nervous when I come on. I'm always nervous before I speak in a crowd, but we do it anyway. If you allow your fear to control you, it's going to run your life. It doesn't matter if you're afraid of something. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. No one ever died from fear. You know, I used to go cliff diving in Jamaica. 50, 60, 70 feet. I wasn't a professional diver. Maybe you could think it was a little, but I was always afraid. I've been afraid, you know when I was always afraid? To talk to a woman that was fine, professional, educated, a doctor, a lawyer, but if I wanted to talk to her, I'm going to talk to her. You cannot let your fear dictate your life.
That's right.
My passion to make a difference, although lately it's been wavering, my passion to make a difference has to outweigh my fear. Your passion to make your streets better needs to be greater than you not doing anything at all. You're sitting in your house and you're allowing them to take control over your own street, no police coming out, firebombing down the street, a little girl around the corner, someone just had her way with her. They're taking young girls off the street, forcing them into prostitution in hotel rooms, and you're telling me you ain't going to get involved? My God. We're going to have a short break, and when we come back, you're going to watch an interview of me in West Bloomfield on the West Bloomfield Continental Cable, whatever it's called. Michelle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hang with me for a minute, and we'll run a short break, and we'll be right back. See? Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.
1,000 men's suits. And right now at Sermons, you can buy one and get two free. Not one suit, but two free. Buy one suit, bring two friends. Buy one suit, bring two relatives. Buy one suit, get two free. Bring your pastor, your boss, your teacher. Buy one suit and get two free. Sermons with 90 years of experience, carrying jeans, exotic skin shoes, sets, shirts, leathers, sweaters, everything for the well-dressed man. Buy one suit, get two free. Sermons on Randolph in downtown Detroit.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin.
Did you know that there are over 100,000 abandoned homes within the city of Detroit? If you are tired of abandoned dangerous houses in your neighborhood, please support the Greater Detroit Restoration Project.
Please make all checks and money orders payable to the Greater Detroit Restoration Project. The mailing address, 17301 Livernois, Suite 405, Detroit, Michigan, 48221.
All donations will help fund the expense of boarding up abandoned homes within the city of Detroit and Highland Park. For more information, contact Barry Ross at 248-417-9696 or Minister Malik Shabazz at 313-646-3375.
Well, we're back. That was a short intro for this interview. So this is a little over 20 minutes. I think you'll find it interesting. I was about 25 pounds lighter, Michelle, last summer. It was a hot day, but I was sharp on the show and I was good. So pay attention. I said some real honest things. Right now, an interview with me, Barry Ross, on Personality Profiles, West Bloomfield. Let's run this right now. That was quick. I'm back.
Hi, welcome to Personality Profiles. My name is Michelle Silverstone, and on this show we talk about people of interest, their passions, and how they make a difference in our community. And today we have an amazing guest who can't even explain what a difference he makes in our city of Detroit. We have Barry Ross, who is founder of the Detroit Coalition Against Violence. Welcome to the show, Barry.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it and appreciate the honor of coming in today.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So let's find out a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up on the northwest side of Detroit, on Roselawn and 7 Mile between Wyoming and Livernois. I went to all the public schools until the mid-'60s when we moved to the suburbs, when the plight with most of the Jewish community, when we migrated out. I went to Mumford when it was okay to get into a fight in school, and you didn't have to worry that the next day you would get killed if you went back to school. Unlike today, it's a whole different world we're living in. But I'm a Detroiter. My family has a business in downtown Detroit for only 95 years, Sermons Clothing.
What kind of business?
Men's clothing.
Okay.
My brother's there by himself today. I've recently retired from the family business. My grandfather started in 1917. He came over from Russia, couldn't speak a word of English, and after a year or two, he opened up a men's clothing store, and it's still there, what's left of downtown.
What's the name of the clothing
Sermons
store?
Clothes.
Okay.
Men's and boys.
Okay.
It's a rather an institution in Detroit.
And what street is it on?
It's on Randolph, right near Gratiot, just behind the where Hudson's used to be, just east of Hudson's.
Okay.
And where the police station, it's between the old police station and Hudson's.
In 3 generations. Oh, that's
Three
a long
generations.
time.
Yes, and I've worked there most of my life. And it's just a shame what I've seen happen in our city, a lack of leadership, a lack of, it seems like a lack of concern for the communities. There's 100,000 abandoned homes in the city of Detroit. And when I say abandoned, I mean with the front doors off, windows out, homes that have been set on fire, edifices still sitting there, garbage sometimes, honest to God, 8 feet high. The
Well,
foliage.
backing up for a second here.
Okay.
So even though you moved out to the suburbs and you drove every day to work for the clothing store, is that what began your passion to move forward against violence in Detroit?
No,
How did this begin?
My passion was born a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, when I decided to stop subscribing to the Free Press and stop watching the news, because the level of violence was so high and the murder rate was so high that, and I saw it wasn't getting diminished. The murder rate just kept increasing, and it looked like the police couldn't do much about it for whatever reasons. And then one day I decided to do a march. And I gotta be honest, I have never in my life had the stick-to-itiveness. I am very amazed that this has gone this far with me, because usually I'd start something and stop and start something else.
But what was the straw that broke the camel's back to have you do that first march, and what was that march about?
Great question. I didn't plan on going past the first march. A 19-year-old young man was at a club downtown Detroit with his friends. He was accepted to Eastern, I believe, and he was out, celebrating with his friends. And he left alone. On his way to his car, he was wearing these expensive Cartier glasses. They're over $12,000.
For glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The C store with DOC sells these expensive, but make a long story short, he got killed over his sunglasses. And I had read about this in the paper, and I wanted to do a march, and as it turns out, I knew his uncle, who's another activist.
Now, did he used to come into your store? How'd you know his uncle?
I knew his, he used to come to my store, and I'm a recovering drug addict. I had met him through various friends that had turned their lives around. So we had a lot in common. And I contacted him, and I decided to do a march for his family. And we met at the city-county building.
That must have made them feel amazing that you wanted to do this for them.
Well,
Can't even
they
imagine.
had done one a couple weeks before.
Okay.
With even a larger group. This was my first event. Thank you for saying that, but we met at city-county building, and I contacted all the media that I could. I was new, I was green, And we all met. I gave everybody a T-shirt that showed up with the Detroit Coalition Against Violence. I paid for it. It had "We Are the Detroit Coalition Against Violence" on the back. I had a bullhorn. We chanted as we marched down Woodward, "We are the Detroit Coalition Against Violence. We're not taking it anymore. We're taking our city back." And we marched downtown to Casson-Fort, where the murder occurred, to a parking lot, which was vacant, and we all formed a circle. I had some pastors show up, and everybody had a candle. We had a prayer vigil. And then I started meeting all these other groups.
No, but how many people?
My first march
Yeah.
was about 125 people.
Wow.
Which is, in these times, it's
Huge.
amazing for this many people to show up for something like this.
Right.
So, and then I did a few more marches. And then I had a rally in the Eastern Market.
But how do you decide what you're marching for and what you're not? Because like you said, there's so many different violences that go on.
I was picking families, that high-profile families that had murders, and I was working with Crime Stoppers in Detroit, and going down there and trying to decide who I could, choose and who I could help. And but like I was saying, I had a rally on violence at the Eastern Market. Invited Fox 2, the paper, what have you. I notified the local police I was having it, and a pastor I knew brought in 4 families. They had all recently had murders. And then from there, it just blew up. And I started going out and supporting other groups. A year and a half ago, this Detroit 300, I don't know if you're familiar with them. I went out to support them. A East Side serial rapist in the Gratiot 7 Mile area had raped over 9 women. We went out in the wintertime, knocking on doors with bullhorns, trying to find clues to the man. He was raping women at bus stops at night that were waiting to go to work or what have you, that were all alone. And we ended up getting him. Somebody identified. We had about 150, 200 people every night in sub-zero weather. And we had bullhorns going up and down the street. And I saw how effective this was. And I continued to support them.
So do you have certain people that work with you on this and organizing it, friends that also share the same passion as you?
The truth of the matter is, nobody in your own organization has as much passion as you, generally. I am now working with this minister, Malik Shabazz, in the New Marcus Garvey movement. He shut down 1,500 drug houses in Detroit, shut down liquor stores, party stores in Detroit that take old meat that's expired. You know how meat can turn.
They put new stickers on it, and they try to sell it.
They add new meat into the old meat,
it.
and so we would shut down liquor stores. I went out with him for the mother that wouldn't release her daughter to protective services because they wanted to put her on this Respitol drug, which was causing her to be practically comatose. And he went out and stayed there for 12 hours waiting for this woman to release herself. I went out and brought him food. I can't even tell you how many events I go to, how many street events. We do these patrols now, going through areas to try to make sure that they're safe. And now I'm boarding up houses in the city.
How did it turn into that, the boarding up of houses?
I have a TV show in Detroit on TV 30.
And what is it called?
Mixing It Up with Barry Ross. And I call it Mixing It Up because I switch from one extreme to the other. I might have a family that had 2 murders in it, and then I'll have an entertainer right after. I might have a politician, and then I might have a school teacher right after, and then an entertainer. I try to have extremes. So I had a young man on my show, 19, African-American kid, working his way through college, no father, came on my show because I had heard about him, and how I try to elevate good young black kids to show them not everybody's bad.
Of course not.
Well, that's how our society thinks, or even police, when they see a young man with his hat turned backwards and his pants sagging, that he's automatically a criminal. We profile. We profile people from the Middle East now ever since 9/11. We have this tendency. So he came on my show and said he had boarded up a few houses by himself and another friend. And after the show, he came up and said, we should do this. And that's when it started. And I got to tell you, 2 weeks ago, we had an event, board up some houses, had the media come out. I asked a particular local TV station, a media broadcaster, I mean the guy that was filming, if he would interview the young man. He interviews him. 2 days later, he's in an internship program at a dentist office through school.
Oh.
The doctor calls him in and said, listen, I know you're paying for your own school. It's expensive. I'm going to give you $3,000 check towards school. Hadn't he seen this kid? And I cried.
Wow.
Yes, so this is the kind of work. We're working in the school system now. We have an emergency manager, Robert Bob, in the Detroit Public Schools. I'm supporting taking our schools back. The governor wants to make a lot of these schools charter schools. We don't want them charter schools because it leaves the underprivileged behind. It leaves the kid that can't achieve well. They want to put all the bright kids in these better schools. And it's not fair and it's discriminatory.
Have you, maybe you have, maybe you haven't tapped into it, but there was buildings that had in the schools, because you brought up the schools, a ton of computer equipment, books, math books, reading books that were never ever handed out to the kids for education. You know, trying to move it forward. I don't know if it's like too big of a mountain for them or what. Have you ever tapped into the kids actually getting their materials that
No, but I know that a lot of I know
paid for that are just sitting there that these kids are not opening?
A lot of the school books have become antiquated, sitting in warehouses. As a matter of fact, one of the warehouses burnt up. These kids are sharing books.
Right,
in
and they
Detroit.
were just sitting there. They showed
No,
on the news
I haven't tapped into it, but
Just
if I
curious.
may, no, I just want to say something if I can too. If a child, a young man or a young lady, whatever age, school age, if they have abuse in the home, and the mother might be on drugs, the mother could be doing anything to get money for her drugs, something illicit, and the child is in a house where maybe a lot of men keep coming over to visit their mother, and then the child might not have food or breakfast in the morning, and then this kid's got to walk to school past 30 abandoned houses with couches in the street, garbage, glass. How does this kid want to learn? And then the kids that fight outside of schools, what these kids are contending with is a nightmare. So,
well, you know what, Barry, when we come back, I want to, get into further about that with you and dig into it because it's more of a social issue.
Okay,
and
fine.
get more educated from you, okay?
Okay, yes.
So Michelle and Barry will be back in a moment. Thank you.
Can I ask a few questions about the apartment on Park Street?
What was your name?
My name is Juan Hernandez.
It's been rented.
Hello, my name is Sanjay Kumar. I am calling about the apartment on Park Street.
It just rented.
My name is Tyrone Washington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street.
It's not available.
I use a wheelchair and...
It's gone.
Hello, my name is Graham Wellington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street. Is that still available?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
Housing discrimination is illegal. If you think you've been a victim, call us.
Hi, this is Michelle Silverstone, and welcome back to Personality Profiles. And we are talking to a guest by the name of Barry Ross, who is the founder of Detroit Coalition Against Violence. And anyways, to make a long story short, he has his hand involved in so many things in helping turn around the city and make life bearable and trying to turn around the city as a whole. With that, let's go back to what we were talking about, with the schools and the books and the sharing of these kids. Live in a home where it's not a home.
Yeah, the obstacles. I just want to digress for a second. I have to say that my work out here, it's almost like taking a glass of water out of the ocean. It might appear to be a noble thing, and I try not to get full of myself, and I see that ego in here, in these large groups and leadership, is in the toilet. Everybody wants to be in charge and this and that, but there's so much work to do. It's amazing, and it's a lot of times it's thankless, unappreciated. We just did a fundraiser at a major corporation. They were supposed to give us a check for just $1,000 3 weeks ago. We still haven't got it, from a very wealthy man. The promises go out the window. I didn't mean to turn the tides, but I just wanted to say that it's hard. That the work is just so monumental.
So do you ever have, even out here in the suburbs, like a website or something people could go to volunteer their time to help board up these houses?
I can give contact information, and we also have, if anybody wants to donate, we have PayPal for the Greater Detroit Restoration Project. They can go to PayPal and donate. The first 7 houses I paid for out of my own pocket.
Wow.
It's about up from $150 to $200 a home. It takes about an hour and a half to do it, and we go and buy the materials, and I can't continue to pay for the materials for the whole city. I work in with the mayor's office, and I asked him, I said, listen, I'm a businessman, could you give me a truck, a hammer, something? Barry, we couldn't give you one nail, not a nail. So we are totally self-sufficient, and if anybody wants to donate, they can call me at 248-417-9696, or they can email me at barryross@comcast.net. And we have a Facebook page, the Greater Detroit Restoration Project, and the Detroit Coalition Against Violence. It's a lot of information. Has a website. They can donate there. But what I'm doing is for the greater good. This is the flyer. For now, it's just simple. The Greater Detroit Restoration Project, which is all encompassing to board up the houses, and then we're going to go back and re-engage what's left in the community and try to get the people involved. The shutting down the house is one thing. We don't want to just leave them and abandon them. So like Sunday, we're doing 5 houses on the 6 Mile, Wyoming area. We're going out Saturday, handing out flyers, knocking on all the doors and asking the neighbors to come out. Help me help you.
Now, have they been participating in it in the past? Because you said we started
a couple months ago. We've had very little actual neighborhood community support in abandoning with the houses. I've had them in the past with patrols or with violence in the area, but if the neighbor next door to you gets murdered, nobody sees anything, nobody hears anything, they're all afraid, they're living in tyranny. And we have a police department in the city that can't do much due to economic constraints.
Well, they can't do it all. I mean, it's just, like you said, it's monumental. It's a cup of water in the ocean.
They don't disperse their manpower well either. And it takes 2 to 3 hours to get a police officer out for a shooting. And then if God forbid, your child is murdered, your sister, your mother, what have you, after the first 2 days, you might never be able to contact the investigating detective again about the murder. And you're hurting, and you want some answers, and you want this person brought in, and they don't return a phone call. I've offered to set up a panel for the homicide department to get these calls, put some chaplains in to volunteer people to answer the calls. Your son or your daughter gets murdered. You want to know, I feel bad for you. We're trying, we're working on it, something.
Right.
So
back to the marches again. I know I'm jumping all over the board
No, I
here,
am.
but you're involved in so many things.
Go
on. So how many marches overall do you think that you've done?
I've had 7 marches. I have detoured from that because of all the other work. I have put the work in the Detroit Coalition Against Violence aside to support the work in 3 other organizations.
Which are?
New Marcus Garvey movement, It Takes a Village, y'all, Y''ALL, and a couple churches, the True Oracles of God. I support the Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push, David Bullock in Detroit. They just had a funeral for democracy. They literally had a service with a casket, buried democracy, because democracy's dying. They're taking it away here. They're taking away the rights. I don't know if everybody that watches is aware, but now they're making you have to show ID to vote. And the people in Detroit that have warrants or have credit problems are not going to go get ID to show ID. They don't want to be found, a lot of people. So the governor knows this. He's making it harder.
Well, we have to show our ID here.
But he just mandated this knowing that the black communities, it's much harder for them to want to, they got to go get birth certificates. It's not as easy as you think for somebody that doesn't have a car or doesn't have money to go pay for a birth. It might seem trite, but to a lot of poor people, transportation, spending $15 for a birth certificate, waiting in line. Do you like waiting in line at the Secretary of State?
No.
I don't like waiting in line at a bank anywhere.
Right.
So for the poor people, the little people, the underprivileged, the common people, it's a monumental task. Why should they have to show ID? So.
Feel it's not worth it.
Right. I'm ready to march on Lansing.
So with those 3 different other avenues that you're going to, can you explain to us what some of them are about?
Which other avenues?
Well, you're after the power march that you had just done.
DTE
Right.
was shutting down power to repair some lines that if they didn't, they were going to have a major blowout. So they shut down the power to 3,500 homes.
Wow.
So Minister Shabazz, Minister Malik Shabazz in Detroit, an activist, was contacted from DTE to do a patrol, and he asked me, and I brought my people, and it takes a village. We formed a collaborative patrol.
Okay.
So we do that too. A lot of our groups come together to do things, to create more manpower. So there's those patrols. I'm going back to marching since I just retired, probably in the next 60 days. Okay. I want to continue this board up. We're boarding up a house tomorrow on the east side of Detroit where a young man just got murdered a month ago, about a half a mile from a school. This abandoned house had 20 kids getting high, partying in it for quite a while. And the young man came in, twirling his gun around, and it discharged. And he hit somebody. And we just found out the other day the person it hit got murdered. So we're going there tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock at 2226 Fairview on the east side of Detroit. And we already been to the community. They're loving the fact that we're coming out.
Okay.
When they saw us coming out in some nice cars, they thought we were government.
Right.
And when they see a white guy and a black guy together, they're thinking we're police.
Especially after 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So they all went back in their houses until they found out that we were not government, we're community people. So we're going to board that up, and we need help. I need money.
So with the houses that are boarded up, is there any plans in the future? Are some of them easy to knock down, or can you get connections for people to knock these down?
You wouldn't believe this. There's 100,000 homes in the city. 10,000 have been slated and permitted to be torn down for the last 5 years. They haven't torn them down. I tell you something, I'm ready just to tear them down myself. I don't even think they'd know. Everything.
Well, we don't want you to get in trouble.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's a joke. It's a joke that they got 200,000 signatures on a petition in Detroit to prevent the emergency manager. Took it to Lansing, and Lansing says, we'll accept the signatures, but the font is 1/32 of an inch off in its margin. So this petition doesn't count. Anything that the governor or the Republicans can do, in my opinion, they're doing to take over the city. They want to privatize Detroit. They want to privatize. They want to take everything over and have revenue for their own pockets. The rich just want more.
So you don't think that they could clean it up even though it's privatized?
I think that they will clean it up at the expense of disenfranchising all the underprivileged and the poor. And that's a shame. What's going to happen to all the little people? They don't care. So, am I a bit idealistic or utopian? I don't think so. I just really have, what I have learned, listen, I'm Jewish. I go out in a black community. There's not too many people that look like me. My Jewish friends at my health club would say, why are you supporting them and not us? And I go, because we have a lobby. They need me. They might not appreciate me, but this is where I know I can make a difference, even though it might seem slight. Listen, it's rare. The Nation of Islam came out for me, my white Jewish self. We're not even supposed to be talking. It's a whole different world today. They want to unite with us too. I'm working with trying to work with the Chaldean community, the president of the Arabic Council in Dearborn. I mean, I'm talking to everybody to show that we want unity. It's hard. It's insane. But we'll make a bridge here, build a bridge here. Hopefully we'll all connect. I don't know.
Takes time. Is there a certain part of Detroit that is worse than others that your main focus is on?
It's all bad. But predominantly right now I'm working in the North End.
Okay.
I-75, 7.5 mile east to DeQuinder, to Joseph Campo, going south, and then back around. We did our patrol there. There's about 12,000 abandoned homes.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I've seen, and I'm not exaggerating, hyperbolizing, I've seen garbage 15 feet high. And they're not doing a thing about it. And we just did a cleanup near this church a couple weeks ago, and they haven't picked up the garbage yet. And we called, I'm going to shame the city on the garbage pretty soon. We're going to do a thing on this because they're not picking up the garbage.
Especially in this tremendous hot heat.
That's
It's
right.
gotta really be escalating problems.
There's these houses that we're going to do Sunday. The backyard, I looked in the backyard of one of these houses. There's 3 fallen trees. I said, we're going to need a bulldozer. We could. One more thing I want to say. I'm working with youth movements too. We have the Better Detroit Youth Movement that I was giving a segment of my TV show to uplift the kids. They're having a summit next week at Burt's Place in the Eastern Market, a week from tomorrow, from 12 to 4, mentoring children, tutoring children, violence with kids, abuse in the homes. There'll be over 1,000 people there.
Wow.
And this organization is giving away $20 to $40 million in scholarships in the fall, the Better Detroit Youth Movement. And you know where their office is? This is amazing. Inside of a barbershop.
You know what? Wherever it is, it is. And if it helps, it helps. And
Jay's
if it works,
Fades.
it works. You got to do what you got to do,
Jay's
right?
Fades. If anybody wants to help us, not me, help us, and they want to donate to this, the Greater Detroit Restoration Project, they can call me. Can I give out my number?
Well, we're also going to have it go
Okay.
on this screen.
Okay.
We're going to show it in the scrolling for you.
Wonderful.
So if people want to contact you, they can, and donate.
And labor.
And labor. And Barry, I just want to say thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on
Thank
the
you.
show and opening our eyes as to what's going on. And
It's a
thank
bit much.
goodness for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
This is Michelle from Personality Profiles and Barry Ross. You have a great day.
The following program does not reflect the views and opinions of Channel 33, its management, or sponsors. You're watching Power Talk on your community TV station, UHF TV 33, Detroit, Highland Park.
Welcome to Metro Foodland, where you will always find courteous service. Our hardworking staff always gives their all to maintain our dairy fresh and wholesome products, cold cuts, premium meats, and of course, we have some of the freshest produce around. Check out our deli and bistro. We also carry specialty items such as Tanisha Noni, Water Station alkaline water, and much, much more. If we don't have it, just ask, and we'll do our best to get it. Remember to ask how to join our Healthy Rewards Club. Seniors and ladies, always ask for an escort to your vehicle. We'll see you soon at Detroit's own community grocer, Metro Foodland, located at 18551 Grand River. That's 18551 Grand River, near Finkel and the Southfield Freeway. Remember, that's Metro Foodland.
Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. Well, I have to say, this is the first time I've seen this interview since I did it, and I didn't sell out anyone or anything. I was true. No one ever had to see that interview, and you, Malik Shabazz, you didn't have to see it. and I promoted everybody that I support, and never for 1 second, 1 iota of a second, did I detour of the truth. And this is our problem. We don't have anything, right? And someone offers us a little something, and we start selling out for the money. We start selling out to go to the other side because our life isn't rich enough. So we take and we take and we take. Now, I want to talk to you for a second about Sermons Close going out of business after 96 years. And I got to tell you, my whole entire life, I'm 62. I've been working there on and off since I'm 12. I started when I was 12. The African-American community in Detroit has been 99% of our business. You all have fed me, have clothed me, have sent me to Jamaica 6 times, to Europe, bought me a condominium in Royal Oak, leased me good cars, and not for 1 second has my brother and I and my family been stuck up because we got a little change and we think we're better than you spending money in our store. I go to a lot of stores and I see how they talk down to people. But I'm going to tell you something. You come to Sermons, you're going to miss this. At Sermons Close, we knew who your granddaddy was. This isn't like you go into the mall and you can't find anybody to ring up your money after you found the merchandise. Most of the time, and I don't have it like I used to, we know your name, your mom's name, and Pookie and them up in prison, and we knew what happened. We know what's going on. There's no one like us. You go to some stores, you're lucky if they even wait on you. My brother is selling sermons, and this thing is going to be gone sometime this year. You're going to miss it. I'm going to miss it. I left there last June, and I want to tell you something. It hurt. I didn't know what to do with myself. Honest to God, every day, I did not know what to do. I miss it. I'm back there now. Come see me down there. Spend some change up in there. There's no one else like us. You're going to go out to the mall and get abused, get taken care of? There's nobody like Sermons Close, and I don't care what you say, that store has been there for you. That store has been there for you. You got to go to a wedding or a funeral, and you come in 20 minutes before you got to get married. We fixed that suit for you. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, I wanted to talk to Barry Ross.
I'll have to check and see if he's around. Who's calling?
This is Gerald Brantley.
How are you, Gerald? Barry, are you in the studio? Hello, this is Barry Ross. How can I help you?
Yeah, Barry, I've been coming to your store for years. You're the #1 store in Detroit for me, going back to the Ben B. Burke days and stuff like that, and when the other stores were down there. But Sermons always stuck around. I came down there recently, last summer, when I had one of my friends' grandsons graduating from high school, and we bought a suit from you, and I'm planning on coming down to see you tomorrow. I called you because I got upset you talking about you finna go out of business. I mean, where am I get my clothes from, Barry? What's going on?
We ain't fixing to go out. We going out. And why don't you come in on Thursday and see me? All the suits are buy one, get 2 free.
I'll come in Thursday.
If you pay for the first one, we will give you 2 more free. Totally. No, but you gotta pay for them all. There's no layaway anymore at Sermons. It's over with.
Okay.
And if you can come on Thursday and ask for me, I'll be there after 11 o'clock. I would love to see you. Make sure you tell me you called the show.
Definitely. I got my VIP card, Barry. I'll definitely be there.
Okay. You might not ever be at another VIP sale.
Well,
we're going to have a VIP sale.
I'm going to come down and do my part on it.
Thank you. We're going to have a VIP sale before we go out.
All right, then, Barry.
All right. You know, you park in the parking lot in the back, pay the man, whatever it is, and you come in and shop, and we'll give you a coupon to get your money back.
I've been coming there for years, Barry. I've been coming to Sermon for over 40 years.
Over 40 years? That's great. How old are you?
Your age, 62.
62. Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you.
All right, then, Barry.
Thank you. I want to say because I got to be honest. I'm up to here. I'm up to here. I'm not a patient man. I don't go into the bank. I go to the ATM machine. I can't handle lines. I don't like traffic on the expressway. And we lost a signal for a minute. I'm fed up with the lack of support that we get when we need you. When I'm coming to save your life, and you can't come out and help us save you and your sister and your mother and the neighbors on your own street, you need to be ashamed of yourself. I'm telling you, Detroit, everybody, you know, I look at the protests on the emergency manager, at the Department of Justice, at City Hall, and I see 150, 200 people. We got 700 some thousand. I know we got a good 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 able-bodied men that can take your ass downtown to stand up with us. Don't you realize the difference we can make the more men and women we have standing with us? I mean, watch the news tonight. You see 150, 200. You think that's something? That's nothing. We need thousands. Come on, y'all. Get yourself out of your house and come on down there. These protests, we need to make a stance. When Martin Luther King used to march, you think how effective they would have been if he had 20 people with him. Okay? I don't know what the deal is with everybody, but if you want things to be to change, you need to be a part of this change. My God. If your mother or your sister had been attacked, how fast would you be out to do something about it? Why do you have to wait till that has to happen to you? We have to stop waiting for something to happen in order for change to occur. You're running out of time here. The emergency manager has come in and he's taken your you-know-what, S-H-I-T. He's taken it away from the city. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's like you go to court, right, and you're a woman and you got a few kids, and the judge tells you, you know what, ma'am? When you leave here, we putting a man in your house to tell you what to do. When you can go to sleep, when you can cook dinner, and what you got to do. How would you like that? It's the same thing. They put someone in here to control the city. Let's say tonight he gets in a fight with this old lady, because he's ugly, and she don't want to give him none. And tomorrow he wakes up and says, you know what? I'm going to sell Belle Isle. You know, a lot of people do things just to spite others. I'm telling you, a lot of people do things just to spite. He's in a bad mood one day. It's all over. He can do whatever he wants to do. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, he says, he turns on his faucet one day and a little rust comes out and says, you know what? This water's bogue in Detroit anyway. I'm going to sell the water department. The water is the biggest and best and strongest, most money-making commodity that we have in the city of Detroit, and he can sell it. And if he sells that, really, goodbye. Now, if you saw my interview, you know if you don't have any money and you can't afford to move, what do you think's going to happen to you when the big, rich corporate money starts coming in and wants to knock down these houses and build big homes and rich condominiums? And your home's worth about $500. Where are you going to go? You don't have a job. You got nothing to do. You better realize that all this could really go down If you got 3 houses on your street and the rest are abandoned and the whole neighborhood's falling apart and there's no resources there and there's poor lighting, they're going to come in and knock all that stuff down, and they're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, we're going to give you $1,240 for your home. You got 4 kids and you don't even have a car. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Who's going to put you up? You cannot allow this to go any further. They're pushing you up against the wall. Don't you see the writing on the wall? They're taking over the city. Your rights are gone. How's a man supposed to be a man? How are you supposed to raise a family? No education, schools. We don't even have decent supermarkets in the city of Detroit. Big money, and I say it, my favorite brother Steve, is my favorite quote. It's a black city and a white downtown. And the neighborhoods are going to just continue to deteriorate because ain't nobody coming to save you. Years ago in the 1800s, when the wagon trains used to travel out west, and they done messed up. They hit across a tribe of Indians, and they all used to form a circle for protection and start shooting, except there were 5,000 Indians and there were 50 wagons. So they're sitting there and they're waiting for the cavalry to come. But they didn't have telephone. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't even have telegraph. So the army doesn't know what's going on. And they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting. And about a week later, the army comes. The women had all their clothes off. They were all raped. And the men had their scalps taken. And their wagons were all burned. This is what's going to happen. This is what is happening. We don't have a prayer. You got to stand up in a nonviolent manner, start showing up for these protests. You need to start calling me and help us board up these houses. You need to get involved with us in a movement. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello? You've reached the helpline for Barry Ross and Mixing It Up. How can we help you?
Barry.
Yes.
I love that you're pissed off, man. It's about time somebody gets that way on this station. It's time for us to start getting mad and getting together. And like you said, if you're going to sit around and call in and talk on all the talk shows, get your ass out to those marches and be out there on the forefront. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on this.
What are you with?
I'm with you getting out there, protesting, telling people, man, that this is wrong. This is wrong how they're taking it over. It's terrible.
And how, okay, I appreciate that, but what can you do as an individual to get more people involved, or what can you do to help me with boarding up the houses, your manpower, money? Can you physically do something to get involved?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no reason why none of us men should be standing back watching our city go to hell the way it is, and watching people take it over the way they are. Absolutely. And I'm ashamed of myself that I haven't already done something. And to listen to your testimony, the way you put it out there tonight, me and my son are watching this, and we're just in awe by the whole thing. And you said a lot of things that really tugged at the heart. And you know what? It's time for us to get out there and do something.
Well, I appreciate it, but it really shouldn't have to come to my words. And I just have to say, I pretty much match up my deeds with my words. It's not as if you're talking to somebody that hasn't been out. I've only been out a few years. I'm older, but I literally go on the streets when I can. And there's a lot of people that talk and don't walk the talk.
Hello?
So can I count on you? Do you have the ability to board up any houses? Do you have any carpentry experience, or could you donate some money to us? Could you do something? Okay. I just want to give my contact information, again, if you want to donate, Minister Shabazz, 313-646-3375. What is it, Ronnie? 17301 Livernois? I forgot. We have a P.O. box where you can start sending in checks. You can bring money in here every Tuesday, and whatever you give us, we will show you where it's spent. I will publish my expenditures to the public. You know, we give a lot of money away to things, and all they do is take, and we never know where the money goes. I will show you every penny I spend and where it goes. I got an elderly lady that calls me every week, Mr. Ross, there's an abandoned house around the corner. When I go to the supermarket, the door's off, there's garbage there. I'm scared, Mr. Ross. I feel like I'm lying to the lady when I tell her I'm going to help her, but I got a list with 175 houses, and I would have more, but I can't even write down all the houses. It's not fair. And boarding up a house really don't mean a whole lot because they come and they take the wood off, okay? So it's just a temporary fix. Most of these houses need to be knocked down. Dave Bing with his punk-ass self, he don't do nothing for this city. Punk-ass mayor. He's a punk-ass mayor. Sold you out to the governor. I hate to say it, man. It's a punk-ass mayor. We used to have a kid, we called him a punk-ass in junior high. You know what we used to have him do? Shine our shoes. We went on the hallway. Les, shine my shoes. All right, that's enough for tonight. What I got? Another. Listen, I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't mean to get crass, hard, use vulgar language, but damn it, Detroit, we need it. We have a quick call, and I'm going back to Whiteyville. Hello, you're on the air. How are you?
Keep up the good work, Barry. I'm a witness. I've been out there with you in the trenches as far as protesting, and yeah, you guys deserve some donations and as much help as possible. So make sure you put your number out there again so that I can talk to some of the youth as well.
Would you like my number now?
Yeah, give me the number.
I'm going to give you 3 numbers.
Okay, I'm writing.
Minister Shabazz, 313-646-3375. 646-3375.
I got that, 646-3375.
Yeah, Detroit Coalition Helpline, 355-2807. You call, leave a message, and my personal cell. Amazing how often I give out my cell and I don't get any sick calls.
I understand.
Because I never would give out my cell, but on this,
because you know we got a lot of what you call foxes in the hen houses. We don't have.
Yeah, I used to be a fox. I used to be a fox. It's still in me, but I'm on Bay. I'm at Bay now. Listen, here's my cell: 248-417-9696.
9696.
Yeah,
okay.
Barry Ross at Comcast.net. Barry Ross, and I don't spell it B-E. Barry White always spelled his name B-A-R-R-Y. Berries grow on a bush. B-A-R-R-Y. Ross, R-O-S-S, at Comcast.net. You can catch me on Facebook. And that's it. I have been told that I got to go.
Okay, have a good one.
Thank you.
Stay true to form. We love you.
We love you all that call into the show. Thank you very much. Have a nice week, everybody. See you later. Sherman's closed this weekend. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m., join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.